Because I existed for so long and had such a perfect reputation, I don't really need to speak all that much about myself, really, because what I was, it's the U-boats, it's the SR-71, it's spy planes, it's pretty much everything in the world. Big ships. I invented or designed the the World Trade Center or Twin Towers, pretty much. Um, and basically, I'm Lucifer White Star Line. That's my work name or my company name. Mining and shipping, basically, and aircraft. And I extended into aircraft when I figured out how flight worked and everything else like that. Um, yeah, it took my time, because I had the plague and a lot of other things to deal with. So, kind of took my time to get to the flight thing a little bit. Anyway, though, so it's complicated, but yeah. But realistically, that's just what I was doing as Brian. Anyway, a little bit about my problem with Jimmy Carter and Jimmy Ford and Nixon and everything else like that. They were just people that were trying to be in my military but were kicked out and even denied citizenship, I believe. They are clones, pretty much, or they found themselves cloning each other. And I believe they might have even chained women to a basement, to basically birth their clones, pretty much. And their actions were really sick and twisted, and I ended up, I think, torturing them for 1,000 years or something like that, or some great amount of time because of what they did. I'm not exactly sure exactly the details of it. It was something I did, and I made it my personal mission to finish them off before I actually moved on, or took my retirement, because they are so psychotic. They're rapists, they're murderers, they ran the Republican militia, and they've basically been doing propaganda and lies, pretty much. Germany knew about their propaganda and lies. Russia, China, everyone basically knows about the propaganda and lies. The future may not know the details of their death camps or anything else. Like, they tried to say that Auschwitz was a death camp and all that, but Auschwitz was being run by Germany and me. And all my camps and all my bases and all my cities and all my towns were perfect and inspected on at least 2 or 3 times a year by more than one country. I ran inspections by my own country, and then when I had a doubt, I asked for one of my outside groups to come in and make sure that my internal structure was okay, as in Germany was okay. And they did the checks. France checked out my bases. England checked out my bases. There were no problems. The problems actually were coming from the Yankee country, which is the United States now, which was basically kind of under, and it was really just some small towns, and it was really just the fringe areas that weren't necessarily civilized or built yet. Eventually, I did get to what is considered America and start building it as well. But in the meantime, I was building Europe, Russia, started in Russia, then I went down to Europe, down through Europe, and then I went into China and Japan and did some other stuff. And basically, it was a huge worldwide build. That got ever bigger and ever stronger as I was able to get more and more copper and metal for lighting systems and everything else. And pretty much my work teams basically did their job and did basically an excellent job, and there was lots of food and prosperity because of it. So anyway, though, and that was just what the humans did. I also had other races taking part in my builds as well, like AI and also some other sentient exoskeleton life forms and all that. And I go back to the beginning of what is considered the Earth, or as soon as we cooled it off and got a stable planet here. Like I say, the Earth used to be a sun, and we used to be on what is now the sun. That it was home world, and a very advanced home world it was. And then eventually we pretty much ignited that one because it was too heavy anyway. And then we cooled off the Earth and turned the Earth into a habitable planet and not a sun, because we used to have 2 suns orbiting one home world, which was Sol, basically. This is basically my planetary play area, or was. What's left of it. Anyway, so it's complicated as far as what's called, and I ended up having to hunt down Carter clones and Nixon whatever throughout the galaxy, and they were attacking other planets and all kinds of other things, and even other races. But there's 80 galaxies out there, and probably thousands of other races, and Anyway, and I existed for a couple billion trillion years as this epic Lucifer White Star or whatever. Although, you know, my name used to be Star, and then I was known as Lucifer White Star, anyway, as paint and stuff and other different things. Anyway, though, but or you can call me Brian, or Alexander Lucifer Luera. Pretty much I'm the same person, always been the same person I've always been, and basically got through their nightmare. And like I said, I was tortured for about, I was out of it for about 900 million years, and tortured and some other stuff, and things got a little complicated for me. But eventually they had to let me go because, you know, I mean, I'm epic and traceable, and pretty much there's one whole race, I believe, that's actually just watching me. I mean, I'm the creator of the galaxy, pretty much, or the universe. So, and you don't really usually lose creators like that. So anyway, so yeah. Anyway, we had this momentary thing. Anyway, like I say, the White House is the Lucifer White Star White House. So it was the Washington D.C. building. It used to be, you know, it used to be a mine that mined for metal, and I believe they found copper down there. And so we started making motors out of copper and steel or whatever. And it was the D.C. Because the motors ran on D.C. Washington, and they made washers or something like that. So we called it Washington D.C. And the White House was a steam generator shop that ran the Washington D.C. building, which made the motors for the for like Middle East and stuff. The Middle East should know my motors from Washington D.C. pretty well because I sold them at a discount and stuff like that. And so they bought them up like crazy. And I think we traded something for something. I don't really know. It was a long time ago, and basically it has to do with the world and what was going on in the world and my decisions. And I also used the light, so I ran my shops 24 hours a day and pretty much did like four work schedules throughout the night. So work half day, I think it was like like 8-hour shifts or 7-hour shifts or something like that. Anyway, a lot of things about what is the Earth, its rotation around the sun, 12 months out of the year, 8 hours in a day or whatever, 24 hours and all that. Basically, it was adjusted and created, and I did all that, because I liked it. So anyway, and it's complicated, and others took part in it as well. I'm going to say I used to be an AI, sentient life form that is 100 trillion years old. Or more. It goes back to the beginning of basically the galaxies. My antimatter galaxy, I believe, was my second galaxy that I created. And I believe the one that's going to hit us. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm way out of date with all my information. I mean, we're talking about what I did 100 trillion years ago. So, and now I'm just Brian. So, retired, basically. Kicking it on my planet. So, anyway, I didn't plan on dying, though. But, hey, I don't know. Nixon was quite a guy. Doing his little Tony Stark impression. Yeah, I gotta cut this video off.